are going to start one of our another chapter from class 8 in geography. That is our chapter number 2, land, soil, water, natural vegetation and wildlife resources. Students, you know this thing that we all are residing on different type of lands. The person who is residing in Rajasthan is having different weather, is having different type of soil, is having different type of land. On the other hand, if you are residing in Haryana, you are having different type of land. So in this chapter, we are going to study about the different type of land, and according to land or according to the availability of soil, we have different type of crops or wildlife sanctuaries or wildlife, that is your natural vegetation or wildlife resources in different area. So let's begin, student. Student, as you can see here, two small stories are discussed here. First one is regarding one of the small village that is in Tanzania, which is in Africa, and the story is regarding one of the girl, that is Mamba. What is explained about her is that at her place there is problem of water scarcity. What does that mean? Proper amount of water is not available in her area, and that is why in order to fetch, in order to get water, she needs to travel long away or far away to distant places to get water. And after collecting water, when she returns home, she joins her brother in taking care of their goats. Because if they want to earn their livelihood, they want to earn some money for their family, they have to do some occupation. So after that work, she helps her brother, and they used to live in very small hut. And one other story is there, that is regarding one other person, that is Peter. Peter used to live in New Zealand, and he also told that in New Zealand was one of the place which is famous for ship rearing, and he is telling us that how he and all his family members are engaged in wool processing, you can say scenario, or in wool processing occupation. But both these personalities, Peter and Mamba, they are saying that they are not having enough resources with them so that they can earn livelihood for them and they can earn sufficient money for their families. So thereafter, students, now the question is why this situation is there, or what is the difference between these two personalities. But we can say, what we have seen, that Mamba is engaged in other occupation and Peter is engaged in other occupation. Why? Because in New Zealand more ships are there, and in the South Africa water scarcity problem is there. That is why they both are in different problems. So what we can say, as both these persons, that is Mamba and Peter, they used to live in different part of the country or different part of the world or different places. They have different quality of land, different quality of soil, natural vegetation, wildlife, technology, etc. And that is why they are very much different from each other. Now let us discuss about all these titles in detail. First of all, let's come to our topic, or the very first heading of our chapter, that is land. Now what is land? Land is one of the natural resource. Land is obviously not created by human being, it is created by nature only. And we also know that land is used for various purposes. And if we say, we can say very small percent of the total land which is available to us is habitable. What do you mean by habitable? Habitable means very small portion of land is there where people can reside, where people can live. Otherwise, the land is used for different other purposes. Now see what is said here. The population is unevenly distributed. Unevenly distributed means if you say a particular place is there where large population is there, maximum number of people are residing in that area. On the other hand, if you talk about some other area or other land, very few people are living on that land or on that area. So there is unequal distribution of population in different area. Why this is? This is because of the different characteristics of land and climate. For example, example, if we talk about Ladakh, very extreme cold climate is there. So what we see, much population is not there in Ladakh because people cannot tolerate that much extreme cold. On the other hand, if we talk about plains area, northern areas, you can say, let's take our example, only we are residing in Haryana. So what we can say, neither extreme hot climate is there, neither a very cold climate is there. So people used to prefer live here more as compared to Ladakh. That is said here. Different places have different topography. That is the topmost layer of the soil. Steep slopes are there, different areas are there. Then your water availability, we can say some areas are there where water is abundant and some areas are there where water scarcity is there. For example, again if we talk about Rajasthan, Rajasthan is one of the area where water scarcity is there. Then some areas are there where thick forests are found. So as per the availability of these factors, land, soil, forest, water, the population is unevenly distributed. Where people are getting all these resources or where the maximum wants are getting satisfied, that particular area is maximally populated or usually populated. On the other hand, where these resources are not present, people do not prefer leaving that area. Then our next topic is land use. I already told you that land is not only used for the purpose of habitation. What do you mean by habitation? To live. Land is used for different other purposes also. For example, in forestry. Forests are also grown on land only. In mining, in building houses, in building roads, industries, etc. These are also other things for which we use land. So what is land use? Land use means using land for different purposes or for different activities, like for constructing roads, buildings, industries, houses, etc. for forest. Thereafter, if we say the use of land is determined by physical factors, now see, on the land on which I am residing, how I am going to decide that whether this land is going to be used for habitation person, that is, people are going to live on this land, or whether this land is going to be used for agriculture purpose. You have seen this thing, or you have heard in news also. Sometime government said that this is agriculture area and domestication or habitation is not allowed on this land. What does that mean, or what does government mean by this statement? The government wants to say, as this land is fertile, we are going to grow crops on this land. This is for agriculture purpose and no people are allowed to reside on this area. That is government instruction. So on what factor we decided this thing, that this land is for agriculture use or this land is for habitation use? That is decided on the basis of various physical factors like topography, like soil, like climate, minerals, availability of water, etc. As I told you, if the land is fertile and water availability is there nearby, so for what purpose we are going to use that land? For agriculture person. On the other hand, if we are having barren land, what do you mean by barren land? Where the production of crops is not possible, then what we are going to do? We cannot use this land for agriculture, but this can be used for habitation purpose. So different physical factors like topography, soil, climate, they decide that for what purpose we are going to use the land. Thereafter, students, if we classify land, then land can be classified on the basis of ownership. First one is private land and second one is community land. Private land means that particular land belongs to a particular person. For example, the house in which you are residing, that is a private land. You are having the documents of that house, that land with you. Government, any other organization or any other person cannot come to and claim that get out of the house. This land belongs to us. That is private land. Second is community land. What do you mean by community? Community means society. The land which does not belong to a particular group, does not belong to a particular individual, but belongs to the whole society is community community land. For example, your parks. No person can say this, get out of this park, this belongs to me. No, that is community land. Whole society, all the members can approach to that land. Fruits, nuts, these different things are present on these community lands, and these are for common uses. That is, these are for use by all the individuals, does not belong to any particular person. So what we can say, what are common property uses which are commonly used by all, not by a particular individual. Thereafter, students, moving ahead, but we can say that people and their demands are very growing, and the availability of land is limited to us. Yes, we have to grow forest also because we want trees, because human beings can survive because of oxygen only, and that is available with plants only. So forests are also required. Second thing, we need the place for habitation also, that is to reside. So but we can say our wants or our needs are maximum, but the availability of land with us is very limited. So in that scenario, in that case, what we need to do is we need to conserve our land resource. What does that mean? That means we have to use the resource, that is our land, very carefully. We have to see the physical feature of the land, that this land is suitable for what purpose, and use that land according to that purpose only. Only that it is possible for us that we can use land to satisfy all the wants of the human being. That is the topic here, conservation of land resources. We need to, now the question is, why do we need to conserve land resources? I already replied to you. This is because the availability of land with us is very scarce, and our needs related to the land are maximum. So in order to satisfy maximum needs of the people, we need to conserve our land resources. Now the question is, how can we conserve land as a resource? By preventing soil degradation, that is, we need to see that soil do not flood away from one place to another place. We need to preserve that. And some other reasons are also there, like by doing afforestation. Now what is the factor that is going to bind the soil? How we can protect soil erosion so that soil do not flee from one place to another? We have seen this thing that plants are responsible for binding the soil. So what we need to do? We need to grow more and more trees or more and more plants, and that process is called as afforestation. So afforestation is also responsible for land conservation. Then third thing is, nowadays what we are seeing, that people are using worst chemicals, fertilizers, which are deteriorating the quality of the land. So in order to protect the quality of the land, we need to minimize the use of these fertilizers or pesticides. Thereafter, our next topic is soil. Now what is soil? All of you know that soil is a thin layer of grainy substance which covers the surface of the earth. And how it is used, I already told you. Soil is responsible for binding the plants. We used to grow plants in soil only, so it is very much responsible for us, or it's very important for human beings. Then one more process is there, that is weathering. Now what is weathering? Basically, when we used to break the big rocks in small parts in order to convert them into soil, then that process is called as weathering. You can see here the breaking up and the decay of exposed rocks. By now, how the rocks are going to be get exposed, or they are going to be depleted in different pieces with the help of different agents like forest, like changing climate, changing temperature because of plants and animals and other factors also. So in that way, weathering occurs, or in that way soil formed. And soil is used for obviously different purposes. I already told that thing. Let's move ahead, students. Our next topic is factors of soil formation. In this, we are going to study what are the various reasons, what are the various factors that are responsible for soil formation. parent rock. Then is your climate, then is your time, flora and fauna and relief. Now let's study how these factors are responsible for soil formation. If we take the example of rock, see students, if some rock is there that is located in nearby ocean area, what will happen when water is going to strike that rock in continuity? What will happen? The rock get expelling or started decaying, and after some time it got break down into pieces and finally got converted in the form of soil. That is how it leads to the formation of soil. On the other hand, if we talk about flora and fauna, in the same case, if any plant got emerged on any rock, what will happen? When its roots started expelling in the rock, that will lead to the breaking of the rock into pieces, and finally it automatically leads to the formation of soil. High temperature, very hot or extreme climate, in that way also a rock is going to expel and is going to break down into different fragments or pieces, then it also leads to the formation of soil. So these are the various factors which are responsible for soil formation. The next is degradation of soil and conservation measures. What do you mean by degradation of soil? I already told you. Nowadays what is happening? Soil basically fleed from one place to another place. It is shifting itself because of many reasons. Like sometimes if nearby water body is there, with the water flow, soil fluid. Sometimes very heavy wind is there, that is also responsible for soil degradation. So what we need to do is, we need to prevent soil erosion and we need to prevent soil degradation also, because both these are a big threat or a major threat to our natural resource, that is soil. Now the question is, how can we prevent soil erosion? How can we stop soil from being flooded away to different reasons? So for that we use different techniques or different methods, and among them first one is mulching. Now what is mulching? When the bare ground, what do you mean by bare ground? Empty land, vacant land you can say, where no plants are there, no people are residing, that is bare ground. The bare ground between plants, like one plant is there, another plant is there, so the gap between these two plants where nothing is there, empty land, that is your bare ground. The bare ground between plants is covered with a layer of organic matter like straw, and it helps to retain soil moisture. That particular gap helps in retaining soil moisture. So mulching is one of the methods that helps in soil conservation. Then next is contest barriers. What do you mean by barriers? Barriers means hurdles. So you have to make or maintain certain hurdles in your way so that you can stop or you can prevent soil from being flooded away. Stones. Now what can be these barriers? What can be these hurdles? You can put stones, you can put grass, so that you can stop your soil from being flooded away to different reasons. Then your next is rock dam. Yes. Now what is mentioned here? That rocks are piled up to slow down the flow of water. You have seen this thing now? If the flow of water is very high, then what will happen? Soil is definitely going to feed with that. So in order to prevent that, you need to construct rock dam. Thereafter students, next one is terrace farming. Now what is that? Broad flat steps or terrace are made on the steep slopes. Steep slopes which are in steep form, there you used to form flat steeps in order to prevent soil flooded from that region, so that that area can be used to grow more and more crops and soil erosion can be prevented. The next topic is intercropping. Now what is intercropping? You must have heard this concept in your science also, where different crops are grown in alternative rows. This is one piece of land. In this row you are growing spinach. In this row you are growing tomatoes. In the third row you are growing something else. That is your intercropping. That also binds the soil and prevents soil degradation or soil erosion. The next is your counter plugging. Now what is counter plugging? Plugging parallel to the counters of a hill slope to form a natural barrier for water to flow down the slope. When water is sloping down the slope, what will happen? I already told this thing to you that along with water used to carry soil with it, which leads to soil erosion. So in order to prevent that, we follow counter planning. The next is your shelter beds. Now what are shelter beds? Basically shelter beds are found in coastal areas or in the ocean nearby areas or in the dry areas where rows of trees are planted to check the wind movement to protect the soil cover. Now see, we are planting trees in a particular row to check the movement of the wind. Why? Because if we are not going to check the movement of the wind and the flow of the wind is very high, definitely it will lead to soil erosion or soil degradation. So in order to prevent that, we follow this technique, and that is of shelter in coastal areas or in dry areas. Thereafter students, our next topic is water. All of you know this thing very well. Water is very important resource for us. No individual can survive without water. Now the question is, firstly, do you all know this thing that our earth's surface, out of the total earth's surface, 3/4 of the earth's surface is covered with water. That is why the earth is called as water planet or blue planet, because 3/4 of the earth's surface is covered with water. Now the question is, water is there on earth, no doubt, but how much quantity of water is fresh water or pure water available for us, that is for drinking purpose or for cooking or for other purpose? The thing is, the maximum amount of water that we have is a saline water. Saline water, you can say oceanic water, and you know we cannot use that water for drinking or for other purposes. You can see here only 2.7% of the total water that is present on the earth is for human consumption. That is used by human beings for different purposes. And rest is not for human consumption. It is in the form of glaciers, that is big ice sheets. It is in the form of saline water, that we can say that is not for human consumption. So what we can say, sometimes it is in frozen form, I already told you, in the form of glacier. So what we can say, water is very precious resource for us, and as the quantity of pure water or drinking water available to us is very minimum, we need to preserve, we need to protect water, so that we and along with us our future generation can also take advantage of water. So you got this concept, why we need to conserve water. Now one more concept is there, that is regarding precipitation or water cycle. You are very much familiar with this concept, that how water used to flow in a circular manner. What happened? The water is there on the earth's surface because of the extreme high temperature, that water is rising up in the form of heating and got deposited in the form of cloud. And when much precipitation or high energy, or you can say temperature is there, water fell down from those clouds on the earth's surface in the form of rain. So we need to, that is the process of water cycle. So we need to conserve water as a resource, because that is very much essential for us. And I already told this thing to you, that the total amount of water for human consumption is very limited with us. Maximum amount is not for human consumption, that is either saline water or not potable or not drinkable water. Then if we see here, what are the various reasons why water resources are declining day by day? Urbanization, what does that mean? High standard of living of the people. Urbanization means development of more and more cities. So the original sources of water are declining day by day. Thereafter, next is problem of water availability. In this we can say that we are living in India, right? And India is there in which continent? It is there in Asia. So what we can say, that Asia is not the only continent which is suffering from the problem of water scarcity. Along with Asia, other continents like South America, Western America, Africa, other places or other regions are there, or almost we can say maximum parts in the world or maximum countries in the world are suffering from the problem of water scarcity. Thereafter, next topic is conservation of water resources. I already told this thing to you that the total quantity of fresh water, that is drinkable water available to us, is very limited. So what we need to conserve water resources so that we can use water as a resource, and along with us our future generation can also use these resources. And for that, what strategies we can opt? Now again students, you need not cram these facts or data that what are the various steps you can take in order to prevent water as a resource. You can write in your own points. All you need to write is you have to stop wasting water in any way. Do not open your taps while you are brushing, or do not open your taps while your mother is washing clothes. Or you can say nowadays people are using rainwater harvesting technique in order to purify the rainwater so that it can be used in future. So these are certain factors. Proper sewage facilities should be there. So these are certain factors through which we can conserve water. Thereafter students, our next topic is, I told this to you in very important way, proper irrigation strategies should be followed by people. What happened? While irrigating the field, sometimes farmer used to, you can say, waste water. That leads to the scarcity of water or shortage of water. So that need to be avoided. Now the next topic is natural vegetation and wildlife. Now see, what natural vegetation, you can say the availability of plants or crops in a particular region. And wildlife means the availability of animal species at a particular location or particular region. Students, you have seen this thing that at different places different plants are found, and at different places different animals are found. Why that concept is there? For example, if we talk about natural vegetation, or if we talk about a particular plant, say cactus, where cactus is found? Cactus is usually found in Rajasthan, in hot climate. Why? Because all the climatic conditions, the land which is suitable for growing cactus is present in Rajasthan. On the other hand, if we talk about wildlife sanctuary and we are talking about polar bears, generally what we see, we used to find polar bear in the cold regions. Why? Because all the climatic conditions which are required by polar bear to survive are present there. So according to different physical factors, we have different natural vegetation and different wildlife at different places. Now the first question that is arising in this concept is regarding biosphere. Now what is biosphere? Natural vegetation and wildlife exist only in the narrow zone. Natural vegetation and wildlife, they exist in the wide zone or the narrow zone between lithosphere, we have already discussed these domains in detail in our earlier class, hydrosphere and the atmosphere, and it leads to the formation of biosphere. So what is biosphere? Natural vegetation and wildlife exist in a narrow zone with the help of relationship formed between these various domains of the earth named lithosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere, and that is called as biosphere. Now students, I told this thing to you in our earlier class also, that all the living organisms that are residing here are interdependent on each other. For example, if we take about the example of plants and animals, or plants and human beings, but we can say plants are dependent on human beings for carbon dioxide for their survival, and human beings are dependent on plants for oxygen for their survival. So they are interdependent on each other. That is what explained here, that in the biosphere, living beings are interrelated and interdependent on each other for their survival. So this is their life supporting system, and this life supporting system is called as ecosystem. I give you the example how they are interrelated or interdependent on each other. Now moving ahead students, yes, obviously I told you that different lands are used for different purposes, for growing different crops, different shelter beds are there, helps in storing water for fruits and for other purposes. Thereafter students, our next topic is distribution of natural vegetation that I already told you. The climate of a particular place, the temperature of a particular place, the moisture of a particular place will decide what kind of vegetation is going to be in that area. I already gave you the example regarding cactus. Various herbs are there, various shrubs are there that are found in different part of the world, because in some areas heavy rainfall is there, in some area less rainfall is there. So the area in which heavy rainfall is there, say you can where abundant water supply is there. So those trees will grow in those regions which require high or huge quantity of water. Some area where very least water availability is there, like the area of Rajasthan, those plants will grow there which require less or minimum water. Like I already discussed the example of cactus with you. Thereafter, students, our next topic is that today we talk about the world. People used to grow nutrients, crops or vegetables in different areas, and people are growing these crops or vegetations as per the availability of temperature or as per the availability of climate in that particular location or in that particular area. There is conservation of natural vegetation and wildlife. Yes, students, you have seen this thing that earlier some species were there with us, animal species or plant species, but now those species got completely extinguished from the earth. You can take the example of dinosaurs. So in this we are going to study that if we are not going to conserve our plants and animals or natural vegetation or wildlife resources, soon they are going to extinct from the earth. So in order to prevent them, the people and the government have also taken certain steps in order to prevent natural vegetation and wildlife sanctuary. Now first of all, let's take the example of the steps or the initiatives that are taken by government to prevent natural vegetation and wildlife. What government did? Government has set up many wildlife sanctuaries, many biospheres where particular plants and animals are kept, and government banned the killing of extinct species like tiger. If any person is found in killing of that tiger for their skin or for their bones, etc., then that is a punishable offense. So these are the steps that are taken by the government in order to protect natural vegetation and wildlife. On the other hand, if we talk about ourselves, human beings, then we are equally responsible. You have heard about poachers now, who were poachers who used to kill animals for their skin, fur, bones, etc. So it is our duty to see that we are not going to finish these resources, wildlife resources or natural resources for our own benefit. And only then will be possible for us to conserve. Other steps can also be taken by human beings in this regard. For example, afforestation. You can plant as many trees as much possible, preventing deforestation. Cut the minimum number of trees. What steps can be taken by you students in this regard? Something struck your mind? Generally what you used to do? You used to waste paper, and paper is made from the pulp of trees only. So if you want to conserve your natural vegetation, you need to stop wastage of paper. These steps can be taken by you. Other steps can also be there. Sometimes government used to organize these concepts, or sometimes school organize on their own behalf. Programs like Van Mahotsav, they are celebrated in school, where at least one children grow one tree or one plant. That will help in the preservation of natural vegetation in the school or in the country. And we need to stop deterring, we need to stop wasting our natural resources or natural vegetation in any of the way, as much as it is possible for us, and that is the only way or only reason through which we can conserve our natural vegetation and wildlife. Now if we say that one international convention is there named as CITES, and it is also responsible for handling the various species of animals and birds, that is to protect certain species of animals and birds which are just about to extinct from the society. So that's it about our chapter. we studied that how the land, the soil, the water and other resources are important for us and how we can conserve them. So now let's discuss the question answer of the chapter, students. So students, our first question is, which are the two main climatic factors responsible for soil formation? These are temperature and rainfall. Second question is, write any two reasons for land degradation today. You can write any points from your own, like deforestation is there, industrialization is there, urbanization is there, and many more. That is, why is land considered an important resource? We have already discussed this in detail, student. Yes, steps taken by government, I already told you, establishment of wildlife sanctuaries and bioreserves and starting of programs like Van Mahotsav are the steps that are taken by the government in order to conserve plants and animals. The next is ways to conserve water. I already told you, you can write points in your own word, that is, do not open the tap while using brush, do not waste water in washing clothes, and try to use rainwater by using rainwater harvesting technique, and many more. The next is tick the correct. Which one of the following is not a factor of soil formation? That is soil texture. The next is, which one of the following method is most appropriate to check soil erosion on steep lands? That is your terrace cultivation. Next question is, which of one of the following is not in favor of conservation of nature? That is, dispose polybags after shoppings. We used to carry polybags, now we need not dispose them or throw them here and there because that disrupts our environment. Next is your match the following, in which you can clearly see land use means productive use of land. That means using the land for the purpose for which it is applicable. Humus, that is organic matter deposited on the soil. Then is your rocks dam, that is for prevention of soil erosion. Then is your arable land. This land is suitable for agriculture. Then is your give reasons. First one is Ganga Brahmaputra plain of India is an overpopulated region. I already told this thing to you because of the easy availability of water. The next is water availability per person in India is declining. Yes, you can write this in your points also because we are not using water in proper ways and we are wasting water. The next is rows of trees planted in the coastal areas to check the wind movement is called intercropping. No. I discussed the concept of intercropping wherein in rows we used to grow different crops. The next is human interference and changes of climate can maintain the ecosystem. That is also false. If human will keep on interfering in continuity, that is going to disturb our ecosystem, not going to maintain our ecosystem. I hope it is clear to you students, and we are done with our chapter, and I hope students that you got the concept very well and you understand it. So thank you so much students. Thank you.